Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jeremy. I help people manifest a better reality for themselves. Today, I'm going to talk about getting your money right. So, I just got back from vacation. So, me and my friend went on a really nice cruise for our birthdays, and I was very busy over the holidays. I realized that I was dipping into my savings, and I was like, I put money away for my savings, right? Like I've been doing that. I put 50% of everything I make away, but I put it all into one fund. And lately I was like, I wasn't doing very good work wise, and I was, dipping into that. And I didn't want to dip into that. So I was like, I feel like I'm lacking a little bit. And even though I put 50% of everything away, I wasn't really organized. So what I started to do is I end up creating 5 different accounts because you have to know where your money is going. If you don't know where your money is going, it'll escape you, just like it escaped me. Even though I was putting away a lot and I still have a decent amount there, I didn't really know where the money was going. So I created 5 accounts in my Vanguard, and one account is for my taxes and my CPA. I created an account for buying a car cash in the future, so putting away money for my car for the future and for expenses. So like if I have, let's say, $1,000 expense for my car, oh, I have that money saved. I put money away for that. And I have a vacation fund. So when I go up to Pennsylvania a couple times a year, I'll just use that money when I go up there and for my cruises. I want to do like 2 cruises a year. So that's what I did, is I put money away for that. Oh, and then I have health insurance, but I have a maximum of, say, $9,200 deductible. If I get in a really bad accident or something, God forbid something happens to me, I put money away for that. An account for my savings, like an emergency savings, like a 6-month emergency fund. And then I have an account for my investments. So then I have an account for my investments. I know a lot of people don't have a lot, but if you don't know where your money's going, your money will elude you. You have to know where your money's going. If you want to be financially free, you have to put away money for these future events. Because let's say you need something fixed on your car and it's going to cost you $1,000. Where are you going to get that $1,000 if you don't have it? But if you prepare for that and you put away so much per month, you're like, okay, I can afford to put this much away per month, right? Then you never have to worry about money again. Like literally, if you have this set up, and I have it all automated, it's all automated. Now what I'm doing is 60% of everything I make goes into one account, one main account, and then an account sends every month to my other 4 accounts, automated. So I don't have to worry about this anymore. Don't have to worry about anything. I just put 60% of everything I make into that account, and it's automated. So you want to automate this process because you don't want to get confused. You don't want to worry about it. Automate the process. I want you guys to know, like, money is a very spiritual thing. A lot of people don't like to hear that, and especially in the spiritual community, people believe like, oh, if you're really wealthy and you got a lot of money, you can't be spiritual. That's further from the truth. It's a very spiritual thing, because everything we're doing here on earth, it's all a learning lesson. Like if you're broke and you're not doing well financially, there's something going on with you emotionally that's creating that. And I can tell you from experience, when I was $45,000 in debt, is because there was something going on with me and I was not using money correctly. And I was worrying about stuff. I was looking at the economy. I was blaming politicians. I was blaming, everything you could think about. I was blaming on why the economy wasn't good. And I was listening to this one guy that was very negative about the economy. And you know what happened? When you're listening to this stuff and you are only focusing on this negative stuff about the economy or why you can't afford things or whose fault it is, your subconscious mind and your emotions are going to reflect that. When you say, words are spells, right? When you say something, you create that. When you say, oh, Must be nice to have all that money. You know, all these people that have all this money, they're greedy. They don't give a shit about me. If they didn't have all this money, I would have more. Like, these are all negative connotations. That's just proving to you why you don't have money. Meanwhile, I believe in radical responsibility, because if I'm personally responsible for everything I do in my life, I can control it then. You can control everything in your life for the most part, right? Like 80% of everything going on in your life, you can actually manage it. And once you start doing that, you can take control in your life. The problem is, a lot of us, you know, it's so easy to blame people outside of us and to blame things to why we're not in the position we're at. But when you do that, you take the power away from yourself. You're powerful. You're a powerful human being. You can do anything you want. And when you start listening to stuff like what I'm telling you about, and you start taking that power back, and you start putting yourself on a budget, you pay off your debt, you will end up being worth way more money, and you'll have all the power back. And then you can help other people do that. You will never be able to help others out by telling them that they can't do something. You never want to tell people they can't do something. Stop doing that. You need to empower yourself. You can accomplish anything you want in this life. It's looking at yourself, looking at your emotions. This is all emotional. This is all spiritual. Money is spiritual. Money is emotional. That's why you're broke. It's an emotional thing. You know, if you're in a bad mood, you go and you spend, let's say you go and spend money on clothes because it'll make you feel better. It's a dopamine hit. When you're not feeling happy, you go and spend money. You don't even realize it though. That's the thing. This is subconscious. It's unconscious. That's why it's called subconscious, because you don't even realize this. But once you start listening to these videos that I'm talking to you about, and you listen to me and you're like, whoa, that makes sense. Like, wouldn't it be so much better to look at yourself and be like, what's going on with my emotions? What's going on with me? Which is why I'm not in the position I'm in. Because then you can empower yourself. Don't you want to empower yourself? Wouldn't that feel so much better than to look at the outside world and blame that for your failures? And I'm not saying be hard on yourself. Never do that. Don't be hard on yourself. This is just, everything is a lesson. We're just here to learn. We're having fun. We're creating a reality, and we're learning. But by focusing on the outside world while you're not where you're at, you're just creating more of that. If you really want to create your true best life, you got to look inside. You got to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Why am I blaming the outside conditions for the way I'm living? You know, maybe is it because maybe I, like financially, maybe I spend too much money. Like, the thing people don't realize is, you know, a lot of people look at the older generations and they're like, well, they had it so much better off. And to a part, that might be true. But back then also, they didn't have social media. They didn't have all these products to be buying and purchasing. They were savers. They didn't go out, they didn't go into debt like we do nowadays. Nowadays, every bank and every person, every credit card company is coming after you. Everybody's telling you how debt's good, how it's good to get into debt. And in reality, this physical world, you want to know what the real slavery is nowadays? It's debt. It's your personal debt. That's the new slave. If you have debt, you're a slave, pretty much. That's the new slavery nowadays, is debt. And then that's controlling you too. How can you be spiritually, how can you be very high spiritually and get what you want out of life if you're in a lot of debt? That brings you down. That's why I got rid of debt. The second I got rid of debt, I'll tell you what, I'm flying high. I'm like this, like financially wise, money wise. Like, I still have my own problems, but like when it comes to finances, like I feel like I'm up here, because when you have debt, it weighs you down. When you're like, every month you got so much that you got to pay towards your credit card and you don't have any money left, and you're just like, I don't know what to do. Like, that's harming you. That's harming your emotions. And then the next thing you know, you end up spending more because you're depressed. You're like, oh, if I go and buy this, it'll make me feel better. Or, oh, look at that brand new car. I can get a loan on that. That'll make me feel better. That's the thing, is delayed gratification is true happiness. Because if you can put money away every month to save up for that car that you want, then you don't have to rely on anybody. You don't have to rely on the banks. That is, everybody talks about the matrix. The debt system is the matrix. The second we went off the gold standard in the 70s, the dollar became debt. That's why by holding on to cash, you're broke. When you hold on to cash and you're not investing it, you're losing money. Like we lost in the past 5 years, we lost 28% in purchasing power of the dollar. So for every $100 to the groceries, now it costs $128. And in that same time, the market's up like 50, 60%, right? So if you were investing money that entire time, your purchasing power went up 50 or 60%. And a lot of people don't understand the markets, which is why they don't invest. Only 50 to, I think right now it's 60% of people in the US invest in the market. So that means 40 or 50% of the US is broke because of that. It's because people just don't understand the market. But since the dollar became debt, that's why the second you get cash, after your expenses, you want to invest it because that grows, because you're investing in businesses that are growing. And that's why, for instance, I invest in the S&P 500. It's an index fund. You're buying a top 500 companies in the United States and their businesses. People see stocks as a gamble. It's not a gamble. You're buying businesses, but you don't want to buy individual stocks because they can go down and then all that money that you have in there goes down. But when you buy something like the actual market, like the S&P 500, you're actually making 9% per year on average. And I think this year I was up like 25% in the past like 1 year, which is crazy. So that's why you have to understand these things. And it's very spiritual. I mean, this is life. This is just we're learning, we're human beings, we're emotional, and you have to learn these things. And when it comes to debt, and I know a lot of us have a lot of debt. I think the United States right now, we got like almost $2 trillion in credit card debt, which is crazy. If you want to start paying off your debt, number one, don't pay off the minimum, right? You want to pay more because then you're just paying interest. So next thing you know, you're spending $300 a month on interest, right? Like that's crazy. You want to pay that off fast. And you want to automate everything. Like if you have debt, automate it. Be like, okay, I'm gonna put $200 a month towards this credit card or $200 a month towards, whatever payment, but automate everything. And because you don't want to be focusing on that. If you focus too much on debt and your problems, then it's just going to exacerbate it and you're going to be like feeling like shit. So you want to automate the process on everything and you want to focus on abundance. Because I know a lot of people, like when I was getting rid of debt, it was hard and I downsized a lot. I cut my expenses by half. So whatever my lifestyle was a year ago, it's half the amount it is now. And that is a very spiritual process, because when you go through that it hurts your ego a little bit. You feel like you're not successful. It's a very spiritual experience. That's why money is very spiritual, because all it is your emotions. It's your emotions in the physical 3D world manifesting as finances, money. If you're in debt, a lot of debt, it's like, why are you in a lot of debt? Are you not happy with yourself? Is there a reason why you feel like you have to keep spending money? Are you keeping up with the Joneses? That's why it doesn't matter how much you make. It's how much you keep. And then it doesn't matter how much you keep, it's how much you invest, because you have to keep that money too. And if you're not investing that money, it's just going to go down in value because of inflation. I appreciate you guys checking this video out. I want you to comment below debt-free. I want you guys to comment below debt-free, and I'll see you in the next one.